Learn how to start a business in your community with Launch Local podcast, full of know-how and inspiration from successful small business owners, including your host, Amber Artemis. Okay, hi, Amber Artemis here. We are back. I am talking with you today about who, what, when, where, why, how. Oh, wait, it's just one of those. Today we're talking about the what. What is your business idea? And how can you figure out if that's a good idea or not? All right, so first of all, I'm just an entrepreneurial type. I get a kick out of just coming up with ideas for new businesses. I love, seeing a need and imagining what kind of business might fill that need in a creative and fun way for people. So I think it helps if you're the kind of person that also gets a kick out of meeting a need, out of coming up with these fictional ideas for businesses. It's kind of like, I don't know, coming up with like great names for bands. I have a running list of great names for bands that I'll have to share with you guys someday. Like a couple girl band names, like Always with Wings, for instance. You can use that one. That one's on me. Anyway, what is your business idea? And how can you validate that idea? So an important part of starting your business is ideation. You have to really shop the idea that you have and weigh it against a few factors. One, what is already out there in the market? So your idea, you have to take a look at the community you're looking to serve and see what gaps exist in that market for your idea. And make sure that you're not duplicating services. If you are, make sure that there's enough demand for those services or those products. And think about how you're going to differentiate yourself from those other businesses. Now, a lot of people would use the word competition at this point. You got to check out your competition. To be honest, I believe in competition. I think it's an example of diversity making us stronger. Competition in the market, I believe, is a good thing for consumers and makes the market stronger and attracts more people to a particular market. But I'm more of a cooperative than a competitive person. So I don't refer necessarily to the other businesses in my niche as my competitors. They are my peers. And my job as a small business owner is to set myself apart from my peers and to just be the best at what we are trying to do. I don't believe we are all making the identical thing. And that is a mindset that goes against cooperation and causes distrust and animosity unnecessarily in small markets, in my opinion. So being that we're all in a relatively small pond, I think it benefits us as small business owners to see our competition as peers and to really root for them to succeed, honestly. The whole like competition mindset means that there's only one winner, and I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. I think rising tides lift all boats, and if our local economy can be known for a particular type of business or service, it's only going to benefit each individual business because we're going to attract more people to that market. So in the example of my past businesses personally, I'll throw some examples out there. We were a service provider who could only accept so many clients. And when we were booked already or too busy or not available, we referred leads to other businesses in our market, and vice versa. They would return that favor, and it was wonderful. It was a great exchange. And when we were in trouble, we could pick up the phone and call each other and say, "What do you think of this new regulation?" Or "What do you think of that?" And or we could talk shop about gear, meet for drinks someplace and network and be a community rather than competitors. And so I think that's what local business is really all about. I don't think, I think of cooperation, not competition. End of rant. All right. So we're going back to what's your idea and how are you going to validate that idea? So you need to make sure there's a market for your idea. And honestly, success leaves clues. So if you see other businesses succeeding in the area, doing what you're doing, and maybe they're too busy, the line's out the door, they can't meet demand, that might be an opportunity for you. Maybe you've seen this same type of business do well in a similar community, and you're thinking, that would be great to bring this to my community. That's another way to validate your idea. Talking with people. Please talk with people. Talk with them individually, talk with them in groups. Do your own market research informally, is how we've always done it. But there's like formal market research firms that can be hired to do fancy surveys for you and whatnot. But there was a local business here that did a great job with engagement about how should they use their space. I mean, and maybe they already had their plan figured out, but because they involved the community in, what kind of restaurant should we put in this space? It just got everybody like engaged and then cheering for them ultimately when they were ready to open. So it was a good way to begin their marketing efforts as well as validate their idea. So what is your idea and how are you going to make sure that it's a good one? I would also bring up here at this point that you need to get to your minimum viable product, all right? So your business idea that you have may eventually become more complicated and more diverse, but when you're first starting out, I think it's very important to focus on your core offering. What is your flagship service or product that you're going to get behind? And there can be a little bit of variety in there, of course, but don't go nuts at first is my advice. Really figure out what that core offering is and make sure you're doing some testing, getting some feedback around what that idea is or what that product is, to see how well it would be received in your community.
Launch Local is an original podcast produced and recorded by Amber Artemis at Leisure Lane Studio in Jim Thorpe, PA. Show music is by Joshua Finsel. This is a video podcast available for viewing on YouTube or at the show website, launchlocal.biz, where you can subscribe to the show newsletter and find helpful tools like the Ready to Launch quiz. Take the quiz at launchlocal.biz to find out how I can help you launch your own local business.